a vast forest with dense trees, mountains, and a serene environment where people often come for camping. This story is about a tragic incident that took place in this forest, where an entire family was brutally murdered. The story begins with Bob and Jackie Johnson, a couple who decided to take a camping trip to this forest. Accompanying them were their two daughters, Janet, 13, and Karen, 11, as well as Jackie's parents, George and Edith. In total, 6 people were part of this adventure. Their plan was to spend a few days camping in the forest, cooking food, and sleeping in their tents amidst the wilderness. However, they had no idea that this trip would be their last. During their time in the forest, they kept in touch with relatives through radio calls. On August 6th, they made their last contact. Days turned into weeks, and after 2 weeks had passed, Bob failed to return to work on August 16th, despite having taken a 2-week leave. This was unusual, as he had never done anything like this before. Another week went by, and their friends and family grew increasingly worried due to the lack of communication. By now, 21 days had passed since the family had gone camping, and they had not returned. The case was reported to the police, who began searching for the family in the forest. Despite searching the dense jungle and surrounding areas for several days, the police couldn't find any trace of the family. The year was 1982, and police resources at the time were not as advanced as they are today. Searching for a family in such a vast forest was a daunting task. As time went by, on September 13th, police received a tip from a man who often collected mushrooms near the forest. He had spotted a burned car near a road in the jungle. The car matched the description of the one the Johnson family had driven. When the police arrived at the scene, they discovered a horrifying sight. Inside the burned car, they found 4 charred bodies: Bob, Jackie, and Jackie's parents. Their bodies had also been shot in the head before being burned. In the car's trunk, the police found the remains of Bob and Jackie's 2 daughters. The entire family had been brutally murdered, and their bodies were left in their own car. The news of this gruesome crime spread quickly, leaving people shocked and terrified. The forest, once a popular camping spot, became a place of fear. No one could understand who had committed this heinous crime or why. The police continued their investigation, but months passed without any leads. By October 18th, 1983, the case took a turn when police discovered a burned pickup truck near a mountain called Trophy Mountain, not far from where the family's bodies were found. The truck was spotted by 2 workers who were familiar with the area. The fact that the truck was also burned raised suspicions that it might belong to the killer. The truck was airlifted to a crime lab for investigation. However, it was so badly burned that the police couldn't gather any significant evidence from it. Meanwhile, police continued questioning locals. Among the tips they received, one stood out. A man reported that his neighbor had once asked him where to get a hole in his pickup truck's door repaired. Coincidentally, the burned pickup truck found in the forest also had a hole in its door. When the police investigated further, they identified the neighbor as David Williams, a 24-year-old man. David was arrested on November 19th, 1983. During questioning, David became nervous, and eventually, he confessed to the crime. David revealed that while the family was camping, he had been observing them from a distance. On August 10th, he shot 4 members of the family in the head and abducted Bob and Jackie's daughters. He kept the girls captive for a week, during which he abused them. A week later, he killed the 2 sisters as well. The case was presented in Canada's Supreme Court, where the judge gave a harsh verdict. David Williams was sentenced to life imprisonment. Today, he is 64 years old and remains in prison. This horrifying incident left a lasting scar on the community, turning a once adventurous camping spot into a place of fear.